It's okay, go.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to ask me questions, or am I supposed to just speak?
Okay, just speak. Okay, just say statement. Say Steve Sawyer, General Secretary of Global Wind Energy Council.
Yes. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing your new site. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to read it, but Google Translate will help. I think the name is rather clever. We have to attract people however we can. I mean, the reality is that we're in the middle of a period of tremendous disruption and rapid change in the power sector, in the energy sector as a whole, which is a good thing, but we have to make sure that it gets to the right result and it gets there in time. I think we have the technology now at an affordable price for transformation to a 100% renewable energy system. Certainly we need to electrify everything that can be electrified, and we're well on the way there. It's not only the power sector, but of course transport and industry. There are still 4 areas which I think we really should focus on in the next few years. Steel, cement, ships, and planes. We see the beginnings of solutions in those areas, but they need a lot of work and a lot of R&D. We have the president of Holcim Cement saying that we can produce cement without any CO2 emissions now. It's just we don't have any incentive. Well, let's give them an incentive. Same for the steel industry. And I think the electric transport revolution has given both the shipping and the aircraft industries, air travel industries, some incentive in order to keep up. But the technologies are less well developed and have a longer way to go. But the first thing we have to do is to make sure that we transition as rapidly as possible to a power sector completely dominated by wind and solar.
Isn't climate catastrophe incentive enough?
Well, it is for me, and I think it is for you too. But you know, with the obfuscation particularly in the Anglo-Saxon press, the President of the United States, for instance, and his cabinet, Australia, Japan, you know, and not to mention Russia, there are still so many and such powerful vested interests who have so much to lose if we get out of the fossil fuel business, that it's what seems like a no-brainer, what seems like a obvious logical consequence. It's still a struggle in some markets.
Will the Trump factor delay things more than they would anyway?
Ironically, the Trump factor, at least so far in the U.S., has meant that states and cities have stepped up in such a way that it's actually accelerating. We have 30 gigawatts of wind under construction or at advanced stages in development in the U.S., the highest level ever. Solar's just taken a hit because of the protectionist measures that were just taken, which stops the import of inexpensive solar panels. But I don't think it's going to slow it down that much. It depends. You know, with the indictments coming down now, this whole Trumpian business could be over very quickly, or it could drag on for Lord knows how long. But in the short term, it hasn't really had any negative effect yet. Of course, the U.S. government's position, there's always a U.S. or a Saudi or someone that everybody else can hide behind and say, see how good we are, we're not as bad as Trump, or we're not as bad as the Saudis. Well, the Saudis are actually moving now in quite a positive way. So, yeah, the only 2 countries in the world that have not ratified Paris, well, there's only one country that hasn't ratified it all, and that's Syria. And there's only one that said that it will pull out, and that's the United States. Nicaragua came around, they were the only other holdout. But they weren't signing it because they didn't think it was strong enough. But you know, for Trump to actually get the U.S. to pull out, it won't happen until 2020. So an awful lot could change between now and then.
Hopefully he won't be there. Your personal estimate of whether we will manage to maintain the rise of temperature below 1.5 or 2%, your personal guesstimate?
I have to be an optimist in this business, or else I'd just slit my wrists and go home, or buy a sailboat and disappear into the South Pacific. We still have a good chance. We still have the rate of change, as I mentioned earlier, the rate of change now is so quick and so disruptive that I think anything is possible. And among those possible outcomes are very good ones. There's also very bad ones possible, but at the moment, I'm trying to maintain my optimism.
Thank you, Steve.
Okay.
Always a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Joe.